So picture this. You're in a relationship. It's complicated. Your partner, let's call them China, pays for a lot of stuff. They built the fancy new highway, they own the restaurant where you get your favorite noodles, and they've got the keys to your car, or in this case, your country's entire oil supply. It's convenient, sure, but you start feeling like you're not in control of your own house. Your friends keep saying, "Dude, are you sure about this? They're everywhere." And you start to think, maybe they're right. Maybe it's time to take back the keys, stand on your own 2 feet, and show everyone you're the boss. This is exactly what happened in the fictional nation of Zambuela, a place rich with oil and even richer with pride. The leaders of Zambuela stood on grand stages, puffing out their chests like they'd just won the World Cup. They announced, with all the drama of a season finale, that they were kicking out the Chinese oil companies. "Our oil, our rules," they chanted. The crowds went wild. It was a powerful moment, you have to admit. It felt like a Declaration of Independence, Part 2. The speeches were amazing. They promised a new dawn, a golden era where the nation's black gold would finally belong to its people. No more foreign middlemen. No more watching profits sail away to Beijing. It was about finally getting to drive your own car, even if you'd never actually learned how to change the oil. The plan sounded simple, almost foolproof, like one of those get-rich-quick schemes you see on the internet, but for an entire country. Step 1. Tell the Chinese companies, "Thanks for everything, but we'll take it from here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out." Step 2. Have our own national company Zambuela Oil Corp take over. Step 3. Profits. Rivers of money would flow into the national treasury, funding schools, hospitals, and maybe even a few presidential palaces with solid gold faucets. The handshake at the end was firm, but the smiles were a little tight. The Chinese diplomats packed their bags, leaving behind massive, gleaming refineries and incredibly complex drilling equipment. It was like they handed over the keys to a spaceship and said, "Good luck. The instruction manual is in Mandarin, by the way." The Zambuelan government waved them off from the tarmac, feeling a surge of accomplishment. They had done it. They had reclaimed their destiny. The air was thick with optimism. For a glorious week, every citizen felt like a shareholder in a booming enterprise. They were the masters of their own fortune. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turns out a lot. Absolutely everything, in fact. The new era began on a Monday. By Wednesday, the lines started. Not lines for concert tickets or the new iPhone, but lines for gasoline. At first, people were patient. "Just a small hiccup," they said. "The new guys are still figuring out the coffee machine." But the lines grew longer, snaking around city blocks like giant, angry metallic pythons. Then came the price hike. It wasn't a small, gentle increase. It was a jump, a leap, a full-on, gravity-defying 300% surge. The price of a gallon of gasoline went from a manageable $5 to a staggering $15 overnight. People thought it was a typo, a joke. Surely the numbers on the big signs at the gas stations were missing a decimal point. But no. Life ground to a halt. The price of everything is tied to the price of fuel, you see. The cost of the bus ride to work tripled. The cost of the taxi to the hospital tripled. The cost of the truck that brings food to the market tripled, which meant the price of tomatoes, bread, and milk also shot up. Suddenly, a regular family's monthly budget was completely destroyed. Then came the power cuts. Zambuela relied on diesel and heavy fuel oil to run some of its power plants, especially during peak hours. The lights started going out, first for an hour a day, then for 4, then for 8. When things go this wrong, nobody wants to take the blame. It's just, human nature. The first target? Sabotage. The Minister of Information went on national television and suggested that the departing Chinese companies had secretly damaged the equipment. It was a dramatic theory, but honestly, it didn't hold up for long. The truth was far more boring and a lot more embarrassing. It wasn't sabotage, it was just plain incompetence. It became a circular firing squad, with everyone trying to dodge the political shrapnel. After months of crisis, the government swallowed its pride and realized it couldn't fix this mess alone. They needed help. They needed expertise. They needed investment. So they began to quietly send out feelers to the international community. It was really the diplomatic equivalent of a late-night "you up" text message. The negotiations were tough. The new investors demanded much stricter terms than the Chinese had ever asked for. They wanted tax breaks, long-term contracts, and a greater share of the profits. Zambuela was no longer in a position of strength. They weren't the proud nation dictating its own terms. They were a nation in crisis, desperate for a lifeline. So what's the moral of Zambuela's sad, expensive story? It's not that foreign investment is always good or that national pride is bad. The lesson is far more nuanced. It's about the danger of confusing a slogan with a strategy. "Our oil, our rules" is a great chant for a rally, but it's a terrible substitute for a detailed 500-page plan. The Zambuela crisis teaches us that partnership is not the same as surrender. In our interconnected world, no country is an island. Success often comes from smart collaboration, not from proud isolation. Instead of kicking them out, they could have learned from them, slowly and steadily building up their own capabilities until they were truly ready to take the lead. You have to check if there's water in the pool before you dive from the highest board, because building a nation is a serious business. You have to do the homework. Otherwise, you might just find yourself kicking out your partners and accidentally kicking out your future along with them.